I was fortunate enough last year to be with Durban Supergiants, and being in their dressing room, it feels like an IPL atmosphere. Not that this tournament will be as big as the IPL. Don't think there's many in the world that will be as big, but from a South African point of view, this is as good as it gets. We hop from 4-day stuff. It's a different mindset. It's a different load in overs. Then all of a sudden you hit T20, again, completely different mindset, back into 50 over stuff. I mean, players do it worldwide now, internationally. Who do you have in your dressing room to look after that? And from a mental point of view, because it's a mental and a skill switch. You don't really realize it, you know, we sit at home, we watch on the box, and we don't get the real atmosphere of it. And being here, living in this region, experiencing this is, I mean, I was fortunate enough last year to be with Durban Supergiants, and being in their dressing room, it feels like an IPL atmosphere. It's got that setup of it. Not that this tournament will be as big as the IPL. Don't think there's many in the world that will be as big, but from a South African point of view, this is as good as it gets. High-class cricketers, world-class cricketers, experiencing some youngsters coming that I haven't seen. You know, to discover only a few weeks ago that this little Mokoena is come from nowhere. I've not seen him at all, and here he is on the biggest stage against some of the finest cricketers in the world, and he's showing what he can do. So it's just a great vibe, really is. It's very special, and yeah, I hope this thing gets bigger and bigger. I came here to practice, and it's the first time I've seen him. And I asked Trevor Penny, who's his kid? And he said, he's come from, he played for SA19s, he's part of the pipeline. And watching him bowl, I think it's almost one of those kids who's a little bit ahead of his time, makes good decisions under pressure, bowls a very natural, he's got a natural action, he seems to be a good athlete, but during his spell and as he goes on through the 4-over setup, he makes quality decisions when it needs to be, and that's a very rare talent that we see. You know, he's up there, and I think he'll still develop from an athletic point of view, from an athlete point of view, and I think that you know, he's definitely a find, 100% a find. So I think there might be a few Division 1 teams that might be queuing up. So hopefully the DP World Lions might snap him up. But we'll see. But what a great find, and here in Bowl's backyard. It's a great question, because ultimately I think it's who he's surrounded himself with and the advice he gets. So you're going to go from team to team, and you're going to get advice from coaches and fellow players. And I always say that when I was with RCB for 3 years, the best learning you get not from coaches, but you get from players around you. And to have a Kohli with a young batsman, and AB de Villiers with a young, with another player, I think that's where you learn the most. But it's also a young guy, and he's young. What he does with that advice. Does he get overflowed with advice? And that's why I think Devil Brevis spent a season at domestic level, a season and a half, and I think that's where he got. We saw him just, you know, fly. So I'm very much, you know, of that learning of it's the people in the dressing room that has got the best advice, the most calm advice, that where this kid is going to excel. So one thing I have seen is that if you think that it's just gonna, you know, I'm okay, I've arrived. We've seen many players fall out the bus that way, but he seems a nice kid. I've spoken to him a couple of times, and I think he's a bit of a sponge as well. He wants to talk to a lot of people, but it's also that when he goes back now after this, is how much does he unpack, and who can take as best care of him as possible. That's almost my biggest not fear, my biggest sort of concern. Definitely. I mean, we hop from 4-day stuff. It's a different mindset. It's a different load in overs. Then all of a sudden you hit T20. Again, completely different mindset. Back into 50 over stuff. I mean, players do it worldwide now, internationally. But it's how, once again, it's who do you have in your dressing room to look after that, and from a mental point of view, because it's a mental and a skill switch. So, it's never easy. We've only played 2 test match cricket, 50 over cricket, and it was an easy adapt. But excuse me, but to come from just hopping around and going from one league to another league, back into test series, it's not an easy thing to do. It really is not. And that's why I say it's the valuable brains you have in the dressing room to make sure that these guys don't get ahead of themselves.